Really, it's all about volume.
Do you anchor or don't?
I do. You know, but you're not supposed to on bluegrass guitar. Honestly, to break the big trade secret to everybody, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, it's a very minute detail that you can geek out about, but whatever works for you is fine. You know, I haven't noticed any less volume on my guitar because I put my palm. I don't mute, but I anchor behind the bridge pins on my guitar, and it specifically came because I was playing a dreadnought guitar when I was a kid, and really part of the whole thing with the right hand was kind of like when you play baseball and you're going to use a new bat, you have to find the sweet spot of that bat. And it was like with a dreadnought guitar, trying to find the sweet spot of that tone with my right hand. And oftentimes it was right at the edge of that little rosette on the sound hole. So I, would just seriously sit and watch as I would play with my right hand, just to make sure where I was hitting the string, and then I'm hitting the string at a perfect 90-degree angle with my pick. Because that's another big thing. With that, to me, makes more difference with volume than, having my palm resting on my bridge. Is that I hit the pick at a flat angle, because you lose volume, you lose tone. As you straighten that pick up, if you don't change anything, you can obviously hear there's a difference.
Does it matter that much when you're amplified?
It really does to me, because I still need that volume. Like a part of it is that I want to get my guitar, even though it's plugged in, I want to make it sound as acoustic as possible. And so when you get with the microphones underneath the guitars and stuff, and then part of it is also I play with a dobro, which is not a hell of a lot better than a banjo. They're very loud, so it's like I want to get as loud as him, even though we're plugged in. I try to get as much volume out of my guitar as I can,
What's your pickup system?
In this guitar, I'm using a Baggs Anthem, and in probably most of my guitars, I'm using a Baggs Lyric, which is just the microphone under the guitar. It doesn't put anything under the saddle, which to me, having said that I don't think resting my hand behind the bridge plate does anything, I do think when you put something under the saddle of the guitar, it changes it slightly. And so I've noticed it more when I'm in the studio recording and I can hear my guitar. To me, it's a little more metallic sounding. There's just a little something that gets lost when there's something that's causing this bone, nut, and saddle from touching this inside of the bridge plate. I just like to have as little contact with anything else as I can. So I really like that Lyric pickup quite a bit.
So it's just the microphone?
It's just the microphone, and it comes with a little tool that you can dial it in. And so I spend some time at home getting it set up, and then I bring that tool with me to the first gig. And when I'm doing a sound check, I'll put it in my monitor, and if I need to adjust it there, I will. But most of the time I don't, and I've used that pickup for a long time. This one, I just got this guitar from Martin, and their kind of standard thing now is the Anthem. So I haven't had a chance to take it to my luthier to have it changed out, but
Are you going to?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, and then part of the thing is, again, it's all about finding what works for you. I'll try to keep this short, but I have a nervous habit on stage of messing with these little wheels inside the guitar. And so when it's just a volume, that's fine, because it's like, I always use my volume at 100% anyway. But when I can blend the tone and I'm messing with that wheel, that's not good,
Can't you just, instead of changing out the Anthem for the Lyric, just get rid of the input from the ISO?
Well, it's a slightly different microphone.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's
Plus
like,
you want that contact back here.
yeah, and I want that changed out. Just because I've used this guitar on a couple sessions, and it's a great guitar and it plays in tune, but I can just still hear a little bit of that undersaddle thing, and so I want to get rid of that. And it's all very minute details, but to me, like, again, I hear it more in the studio than I do. Like right now, if you told me that I had to tell you if this guitar had an undersaddle pickup or not, I couldn't. You know, but when I hear it with a good microphone over it and I listen to it in headphones, I can, you know. So, I've become very, very geeky.
You're the one that gets the big bucks.
How about that? Yeah.
You like the microphones that mounted in the guitar?
Yes, it's, so the way they did, they put I think the microphone's like right here and it's underneath it. And then, the only thing I don't like about it, a lot of people use a K&K, Pure Mini, because it's a passive pickup. The unfortunate side of that is that you have to have a preamp to really get volume out of it. But the good thing about that is there's no battery pack in your guitar. And it, you know, it adds not substantial, but it adds enough weight to your guitar to make a difference. And again, it's like, you want wood to resonate. And so, I bite the bullet and deal with it because I like the sound of that pickup better. But I can understand why people would go for a passive pickup that got rid of that 9-volt battery inside the guitar.
That's what I did, 'cause I had an Anthem, and eventually just drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Had to go.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like Tommy talking about the in-ear monitors, that there are certain things that aren't for everyone. And pickups on guitars you could talk about for days because, you know, Tommy plays the Maiden guitars, I'm sure a lot of you guys have them. And they're great, and they sound really great plugged in. You know, it doesn't work for my setup, but it works great for Tommy's, you know. My setup probably doesn't work for him, you know, so it's trial and error, and that's the cool thing about it. There's a lot of guitar builders, you know.
Use really thick picks?
I do. I use a blue chip pick, and I'll pass one around at some point, but they're very thick.
Yeah.
And to me, that was another thing about getting just more tone. Like, they make different ones. This is like a 1.5 millimeter size pick. They make like a 40 and a 50 that are, you know, slightly smaller, but again, it's something that I can hear the difference of the thinner pick.
Do you find that you have to, as you're doing, you kind of bowling as well to kind of?
Well, the cool thing about these is that they have a bevel on them,
Yeah.
and it's that they call it a speed bevel, which is it's nice marketing. But it does help, you know. I like it. I bought into the marketing. I can jump higher and run faster thanks to the speed bevel.
Guarantees not to rust, bust, or get it.
Exactly.
When you're talking about things added to the guitar, what about the pick guard versus no pick guard? 'Cause, I mean, you're adding something that deadens the top a little bit.
That's
right?
another do as I say, not as I do. I'm a big fan of like 50s and 60s country music, and when you look at Porter Wagner and he had the giant pick guard, I've got several guitars that have those giant pick guards, and I'll fight to the death to say it doesn't matter that much, even though it does.
Put the tiny piece of one with the bridge.
Even though it does, yeah.
Can you explain how you build a solo? Can you explain how you build a solo?
Play a solo?
How you build it?